night, I go over to the amusement company and we go through ticket sales, all the ticket sales we had, and then I get my percentage of it, and it's in cash because they have cash on hand. So, when I first originally started doing it, the accountant, I did one lump sum, one big deposit, one deposit ticket. He didn't want that, so we did individual days. So, I was doing everything Jack directed me to do, and it's never been an issue. So, I mean, now I said to the guy that we could do checks, he said, yeah, it's not a problem, I can cut a check instead of doing that. So we'll do a check.
I think it was just last year you brought up you couldn't take checks from the food vendors and the other vendors.
No, we don't take checks from them.
We didn't
It's in
have
our
it last
contract.
year, did
You
we?
should take checks.
No, we
from
take
them.
checks, we don't take cash, we take checks
You
from all of
should
them.
take checks rather.
It's in our contract.
No,
Is it
I
not
mean
there?
for the 10% that you collect at the end of each evening.
Well, we only started that the last 2 years. We were trying to make it affordable for all businesses, okay? See, my goal for that carnival was not, like I said, to make money. It was for, we have, half of that is set up for, like, a community days, nonprofits, businesses, and I don't charge that percentage to nonprofits because I want them to make money. The only people I take the percentage from are businesses, okay? That's the only people I take money from.
Well, why
These
did
people are
you
making,
start doing that? Because
so I didn't have to raise the rent on different stuff. I
why
didn't
would you
increase
have to
any
raise the
prices.
rent?
Because we're trying to get bigger name entertainment, we're trying to get, it takes a lot to run a carnival.
But you don't even keep minutes from the meetings and you never brought these decisions to the board.
It's
as
a
far as
carnival.
You wanted
fireworks,
nothing to do with
Oh
the
my God.
carnival, so what,
It's
That's
so,
such a, you always use that line.
why
That's
do
not
I, why
true.
do I?
But
I
anyway.
do all the background work with my committee and then you wanna take the credit for it? Is that how you want it?
Nobody wants credit.
No one's looking for credit
We
for
just want
anything.
everything covered and done.
Done
Has it not
correctly.
been covered?
Huh?
Well,
Has
do
it
they
not?
have to turn in minutes since they're like the park and rec?
You would think.
If
It's
they're an
committed.
Well,
advisory.
is there a
committee,
policy on that? Maybe we come up with a policy on that as well.
Are you serious? This is a small town, and you're doing this for the right reasons.
Is your
I
vendor
just don't-
nonprofit?
I'm sorry?
Is your vendor nonprofit?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Knights of
but-
Columbus?
Knights of Columbus?
Right, and you
Yes.
said you don't charge them?
No.
No.
Well, they're different, they have the entire pavilion.
Oh, okay.
Okay, normally
you-
normally my spots
Why do we
are
have to
10
make
by
this
10.
into some official big deal? Why can't it just be a carnival for a small town? I mean, seriously, this
Well,
is
if we don't,
ridiculous.
then we'll have a
We're
citizen
not
out
gonna
there
be able to
saying,
move
"You
without reading a
broadcast this stuff, you
policy."
followed the
Well-
rules."
So
It's a lose-lose
you want us to
situation.
follow the rules and guidelines on certain situations, but not others?
And what are you getting at?
That's what you're saying to me, that's what I'm understanding.
No, this is a fun day for the community. I'm not talking about.
As a township, we still have rules and guidelines. to
Absolutely,
follow.
but it's, seriously. You people you haven't followed the rules.
Okay,
So if you wanna get back to that, I'm
Yeah.
trying to move ahead, that's what I'm trying to
gonna make a
do.
policy on how you guys wanna go about this.
Paul, I wouldn't even do it. I would let somebody else do it, seriously.
No, 'cause
I
I get
I
yelled
just,
at, so
I wouldn't do it.
The fireworks.
Yeah.
I thought they were strictly paid for, wholly paid for by donations.
They are.
Okay, I thought you said you had more money.
Why don't you look at the paperwork that I gave you, it'll show you that.
I don't have it.
Well, it's in the township, Joan has it, everything's in there. What I bring in firework donations is what I get for fireworks. I had $7,800 last 2 years ago, we had the carnival, I had $7,500 display.
Okay, so let's move on. Maintenance report.
For FYI for the board, the new pickup truck has been delivered. That is here. The 1997 GMC that we were entertaining the thoughts of selling, I have not approached Joan to sell that because in every winter weather event we've had, I've had breakdowns and had to put it on the road. So until you tell me I have to sell it or the snow goes
We
away,
might as well keep it for winter then.
I'm not getting rid of it.
So we'll post it in the spring maybe.
So now I have a request of the board for use of township equipment to clean and remove snow at Station 69 for the memorial service on Saturday. So we'd be using it after work to go down and finish cleaning the park.
I'm okay with that as long as you're township really.
Everyone good with that? Do we need a motion or we're just doing?
Let's make a motion.
Probably a policy on that.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
SEO report. Library report.
Are they open
I think they are.
Tax collector. Police department.
Yeah, I have a couple things. I'm sure you know we had 3 of our workstations go down. So we're down 3 computers. They were all around 8 or 9 years old. Sandy came over earlier this evening to see what we can scrape by with, and you know, I definitely need at least one. So that's why that's on there. And then the other thing was the moonlighting details that we have periodically, particularly over at the mall when they have the gun show by Eagle Arms. Eagle Arms pays the township to devote policemen just for that show. We have a rate set where it's at the highest overtime rate. I'm asking, because it just came up, that a couple of the part-timers signed up for the detail and they weren't getting paid time and a half. So I just wanted to get the board's, I don't know, ideas on this. I know they're part-time, but the township's still clearing, they're actually
So normally we
making money.
wouldn't pay time and a half unless they work their full-time hours.
But they're
and time and a half.
we're getting
But
reimbursed time and a half.
Right, we're getting reimbursed.
They should be
So-
they should be paid at time and a half because that's our reimbursement.
Well, it's at, they're getting paid at the highest rates, of a full-time rate, a
They should
full-time.
get their
Their
time.
Yeah,
time
I'm
and
just
a
talking
half.
about their time and a half, so the
Yes.
township still makes out on it. But
Absolutely.
it's something, you know, Joan and I ran into and, with Jeffrey, and I don't think, you know, there's anything, I don't know if it was ever really formally understood. I thought we had that in existence.
Yeah, I don't ever recall.
Is that
coming against this
okay?
before. I mean, I think them get reimbursed for their time and a half since
Their time
they're
and a
getting
half,
paid
right.
by basically the mall, we're just, the money's just coming through our
So I'd
account.
like to make a motion that our part-time guys get paid at their time and a half rate
Right,
at the moonlighting events, that we're being reimbursed at a time and a half rate.
we had that episode at the Walmart for the Black Friday thing, and really the only other things we have is the Eagle Arms stuff that they have over there, so.
As long as we're being reimbursed at a time and a half rate, they should make their rate at time and a half.
Yes.
And I would make that motion.
Second.
Thank-
All those in favor?
Oh, also, a couple of guys worked a couple of the shows, and they weren't paid a time and a half. I think, Yatsko worked one of them, and Chris worked, how many did he work? 2 or 3,
At least,
This year,
this year, right? Yeah, that's this
well,
year.
there's one like in November, December.
Can these officers get paid those couple this year that they worked?
can we start as of January first, we'll pay them at their.
Well, if they worked it,
If
they
they
promised
worked
time
it.
and a half.
They,
get the money back,
they
yeah.
worked it,
Yes.
were under the impression that they were getting time and a half, and, I talked to Jeffrey yesterday, and apparently it wasn't happening, so,
Oh.
but we were still getting the money in, you guys were still getting reimbursed.
Yeah, surely if they expected to get time and a half,
They
they should
did.
get it, yes.
And
I
I
would
think there
make
was
a
only
motion.
one, right? There's only one in last year.
This is the first I've heard a complaint, so yeah, there was
I
one.
think
Alright,
there's
so
only
it
one.
was just
I think
confusion on how it was written
Chris
up
worked
and
like
what-
3 of them in the past, and, Yatsko worked 1. So it's not like there's a whole bunch of back pay or anything.
I would make a motion that we go back to January first of this year.
For all shows worked.
For all shows work, starting January first of this year.
Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with putting no parking signs up on Morgan Circle, especially during these events? Do we have temporary ones maybe we could put up?
Yes.
I mean, does anybody else have a problem with that? Because, and I don't need to tell you who calls me every time there's an event over there. My phone rings off the hook. But I mean, his gripe is they have a parking lot big enough, why do they allow to park
Right,
out
why
on the
they-
side streets? So is everybody okay with putting no parking signs up just to keep everything on the property?
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with
Can we put some temporary ones up maybe?
Well, we can, I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna be tough, that's this weekend, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't have to be for this event, but I mean, for future events, can we try to do that? I mean, I know this is last minute,
As
but
long as somebody shares it with me, this weekend's gonna be tough.
don't we have the ones that say no parking by police and like?
Temporary police
Yeah,
order,
something like that, can we do that?
And Sandy, do we need a motion for the computer?
Computer, yes, we do.
Okay.
Okay, so we wanna get at least one computer up and running. Okay, so we have a price on here.
Thirty-four sixty-five.
No, we're doing one. So
Yeah.
877 and 249 that have the Microsoft added on, and then 69 for prep. So
Oh, that's three.
11, about 1,200.
Okay, I'll make a motion,
11.
not to exceed 1,300.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Anything else, Matt?
No, that's it.
We need a motion for the, did we do the motion
Not to exceed 1,300.
I don't
to,
think we
no, not
voted on that.
to vote on the pay?
Yes,
Was that official?
that was Jeff Vickers
Okay,
and
all
Alan
right, so
Spire.
make sure we got out of order there and then went back.
Yeah, got it.
All right. Zoning code enforcement. EMS. We have December and January. Fire company. Park and Rec, no January meeting. Planning commission meeting, minutes. Water sewer, no reports. Engineer report.
I just wanted to bring up, last month we had scheduled or discussed scheduling a meeting at Klein and Hopewell Roads with the environmental. We got that set up, we had some COVID issues canceled, we can't do anything till the snow melts at this point, so whenever the weather cooperates, we get that scheduled again and get that taken care of. We met with Keith to go over the street work for this year and the road bonding with Sunoco. We looked at some of the stuff that day. We were gonna come back out and got the big snowstorm last week, so we're actually coming out tomorrow to finish going through the streets and the Sunoco stuff, get everything out on that. And we're planning on having I have a recommendation letter for the workshop meeting as far as what we think on the streets and with the Sunoco stuff, so we'll get that submitted.
Have you heard about the census and MS4 by chance, by any means?
I think everybody kind of assumes you guys are probably gonna be on it, but we haven't heard anything about when they.
Well, Steve brought something to my attention, and I wanna bring it to the boards because it's something that's gonna affect us. Our salt shed's been deteriorating for the past couple of years now. He just attended a PSATS seminar, wasn't it, you just went to?
No,
Or you
I
just went to visit something?
I went to visit Rafford Township just because these Lancaster County municipalities are falling under MS4. One of the newest revisions was your salt shed and loading your salt trucks had to be done under a roof. So I went and looked at some of these canvas top buildings that these guys are putting up, and they're monstrous. We're talking 90 feet by 65 feet. They're absolutely monstrous. I had to keep my eye open to this only because I don't wanna push you to a similar design of what we got and then find out that MS4 comes along 6 months after we build it, we got it, that we're non-compliant.
Well, the problem we're dealing with though is that, I mean, I know you're probably tired of hearing me talking about MS4, but MS4 is a serious thing. It's a strict stormwater standards, it is. And when you're talking about our salt shed, where our maintenance building's located, 9 times out of 10, Penguin's probably gonna include it with that because it's, what do they call it, mass housing or
High density.
high density housing? Well, there's a stream that runs right past our shop. So is that gonna be an issue when it comes time for us to mess with our salt shed? So that's stuff that I would like to take a look at because we should plan accordingly. Instead of spending money and dumping it into what we have, trying to fix it, is it worthwhile with the creek being there and MS4 coming in?
What's the issue with the salt shed and the creek being near there?
Water runoff.
It's water runoff.
And the salts,
Yes.
it has a negative effect?
Yes.
What about all the salt you throw on the roads and wash into the streams everywhere?
but you're
Same
next to a
thing.
waterway.
That's regulated though also, that's all part of it, that's all being regulated too. Now, he has to calibrate his trucks to know how much salt he's putting down at any given time in a square mile, in a square area. He has to know all that, it's all a chart, it's all a calculation.
So you can't exceed a certain amount of salt.
You have to have a certain amount of pounds per lane mile to satisfy the attorneys in case of an accident.
Are all these things ridiculous? Absolutely, but
I'm not gonna sit here and defend what DEP and them are doing, I don't wanna make a suggestion that we do something and find out that it's inadequate.
Right.
Not long
It's
after we
food
get
for
it
thought,
done.
I want you guys to think about it, because it's something that might
I,
change our plans.
No, you're right, I've talked to them about it too.
If,
You're right.
a 65 by 95 building, there's no spot down in that facility you can put, I don't know that we need something that big, but there's just, it's crazy. The fuel island's gonna need a roof, your dumpster's gonna need a roof, and they're gonna make examples out of this. If the facility up here along the turnpike, if that opens and you get an influx of cash, DEP's gonna see that. And then you just have to know that when they see you get that influx, they're gonna be here too. So we have to plan accordingly and on a long-term scale. It's kind of where we're headed with that. I don't know that it's a decision we're making today. It's just, you have to understand where we're headed long-term.
Okay, anything else? Solicitor's report.
Everything's been covered that I worked on with one exception, that I need executive session for. In short, it's a contract year for your police officers. So they've made a request that you begin to bargain.